Oh shit. Are we live? Hello? Why didn't my director count me in? Oh wait. I'm my director. Yo, what up, what it do, baby? It is study hall. You know, like we did last week. And it's probably just gonna be a regular thing. Because I need something to do multiple weeks. Multiple days out of the week on the show. This actually helped. Being on study hall actually helped me focus solely on reading articles for sports. So what you're seeing right now is the article that I'm looking at, and it actually should be changing based off of what I'm looking at because I'm just screen sharing. So I'm only screen sharing one of my tabs too, so I can look at something beforehand. I will say, feel free to drop articles or whatever in the chat. I watched the top 100 plays from the NFL this past NFL season. Sorry, I pushed my mic away for some reason because you know that's what a elite level podcaster does. Not speaking into the mic. We apparently gained a subscriber, and I wasn't paying attention. Also, somebody left a comment on the last
stuff.
Oh no, we will not be doing ads for a video we already watched. Sorry, guys. Did the greatest chess player on the face of the planet finally lose to that kid? Is that what happened? Anyway. Yo, man, there's an ESPN Daily that's specifically about, about chess players and how they've become like way over the top in terms of like athleticism. Well, not necessarily athleticism, but they've gone like super hardcore in terms of like their training overall. Like they talk about what chess players drink during matches, things that help them sustain energy for longer periods of time and stuff like that. It was weird. Anyway, that's what study hall is about. It's about me spouting random information and knowledge and stuff like that. Anyway, there's an ESPN Daily episode. You should definitely check it out. Yeah, I had 2 tweets kind of blow up this week. I just realized, the last like couple days. So right now, if you follow me on FB_playbook, actually we can go look at it real quick, because it does help me plug something that I need you, my valued listeners, to go check out. Kidding. I'm not trying to sell. I'm definitely not trying to sell you fit tea, guys. Unless you want some. Let me know. Anyway, I finally put together a thread. Somebody's calling me, and it is a fucking scam every time. Like I said, kind of blown up. Like 48 likes and 15 retweets is not impressive, especially for people who are actual influencers. As a person who only has 4,000 followers on Twitter, I call that pretty impressive, especially since a good chunk of those people who liked and retweeted it are not people that actually follow me, which is great because there's so many people who actually follow me that don't give a shit about what I actually post. It's funny. Like I said, I used to be a high school sports reporter, and a lot of those kids used to follow me solely because they valued my opinion, and they don't anymore, I guess. I don't know, man. Who knows? I do know that I need to open up this stream so that I can see if somebody leaves a comment. That's the weird part. I've been looking for an answer to this problem. I put the chat box on like almost every scene. I just built this scene that you're looking at right now. If you're a person who uses Streamlabs OBS, you know what I mean when I say scene. But what you're looking at right now, I just built this. I don't know why I opened the Creator Studio. But yeah, you guys can see. I'm actually kind of shocked the number of people who have watched shit. One of my videos got pulled for a copyright claim. I think they pulled the other copyright claim off one of the episodes. Hello. Nope. Oh wait, that's from Image of the Week. Hello. Did they remove that claim or am I not looking at it in the right order? That's a real thing. So this is weird because it says the last thing I've posted is February 12th because this is how YouTube works. It's so fucking stupid. So I have to go to my lives instead of it being considered a video. This is a stream, hasn't been pulled. I got a copyright claim on the Super Bowl episode, so that was fun. That was pretty stupid. And oh man, speaking of shit that I did, Jesus Christ. I'll explain it a little bit later. But anyway, this is the first. Oh, by the way, happy end of Black History Month for every white person that hates black people, or every person. I say white people all the time that hate black people, but in actuality, like, I know for a fact that there are tons of people who are not white that still hate black people. Matter of fact, I went to school with people who were like that, and also they had parents who were like that, and like pretty open about it because they knew I was a child and they couldn't do anything. So that was fun. I legit had a friend whose dad used to just make infinite amount of black jokes, and I think, I don't know, man. So you know how it goes with dudes. Sometimes that's wow, 12 people. By the way, that's like really high for me personally, for 12 people to watch my stream. So as you can tell, like, I have no problem telling you guys, like, nobody gives a shit what I have to say on this show. You can see it's 12 views. There's 2 right there. That was the last study hall. But I will point out the last study hall on Twitch was kind of fire. Like, the last study hall on Twitch was kind of fire. Which, by the way, that reminds me, I need to open Twitch. So, how do I do that without? Oh wait, it'll just go blank, I think. Yeah, it'll just freeze on the last frame that I have. Anyway, I do need to open Twitch and see if people are commenting on what I did, so I can reply back. That one guy, I tried to screenshot him saying "fuck Leeds" because I wanted to send it to Martin, who, if you're familiar with the show, used to be the co-host of the show. I talk to him all the time, especially now that I have Discord. Apparently people love Discord, even though it's the same thing as like texting people or whatever. Who knows? Mute that. It is already muted. Shout out. But yeah, let's go back to what we were doing before. So yeah, it's back. But yeah, that's like my last couple videos, man. YouTube, I'm kind of working. Like, I mean, if you think about it, I had 10 people who watched my Super Bowl video, which, by the way, if you listen to my prediction at the end, you made quite a bit of money because I told you exactly how the game was going to go. I didn't tell you the exact score, but I gave you a good idea. We gained a follower on, yeah, we talked about that. You guys, if you were watching last week's study hall, we gained a follower in the midst of the show. It was pretty dope. But yeah, so 12 views, as you can tell. The last like 3 episodes combined is only what? That's 15 to 12. 3 more views than what I got on my last stream. Many could say it's kind of a big deal. People really. So this one's funny. I have a copyright claim on these now. What the fuck? I like, these did not have copyright claims on it before. I will point out, I think that there's a company out there that is like just released a song that utilizes the same beat track that the person who made stuff for me utilizes now. So I'm gonna have a shit ton of copyright claims, which is great because it just means I have to find like a new source of music, because I'm not sending 1,000,000,001 responses to YouTube saying the same thing over and over again, because that's what it turns into. It's like, it turns into like, oh bro, I have to send a message to YouTube being like, this is a song that somebody I know made and they gave me permission. And apparently like some company that pushes Christina's music, or maybe it's like some random person or whatever that pushes Christina Gucca's music. She is the person who makes the beats that I use on the show. Whoever pushes her music is like putting a copyright claim on my shit. So it was really weird. Whatever. Anyway, what was I doing? I was saying something. We were talking about Twitter. God damn, that's wild. If every show could be like this, where I just like randomly go through the process of making a podcast and it pops off, I would be very interested. By the way, we're definitely gonna check out what the fuck this is. I know what the Cain Velasquez thing is. He got arrested for attempted murder. But we can read more about it because I think Zane wrote the article. Zane Simon, who's been on the show before, he's pretty dope, from the Vivisection. If you're familiar, check out his podcast. Anyway, I got this tweet blowing up. You see a bunch of people. This guy right here, J. Drew Pittman, is the agent of Logan Hall, who this video is about. He's a guy from Belton, Texas. If you're familiar with Texas, Belton is kind of a small town, but they do have a really good football program because they are a one-school ISD, which, if you're not familiar with high school, that means that they live in a town that has one high school. So all of the talent regardless of what sport it is consolidated in one school. It can be 3 middle schools, it can be 2 elementaries, all that kind of shit like that. But everybody who's athletically gifted and talented is going to one high school, which means that they kind of have the ability to build super teams if they get enough talented players at one time, depending upon the situation. It also typically means that there's a constant flow of very successful athletes coming through the school. Because believe it or not, without elite level training, athletes do sprout up and become successful. That happens. But nonetheless, this is a video that I made about Logan Hall, and I didn't do like analysis of him or anything like that, because one, I don't pretend to be a draft guy. I don't know. I know how players are assessed. I do not know how to assess players, if that makes sense. But anyway, I did this video about Logan Hall, kind of like giving a breakdown of what his college career, where he's from. Like if I could find a cool story about him, I did. So for instance, this is a thread of TikToks that I've been doing, and I'm going to do one today after I get done with the study hall session about a very specific person. Well, I guess you'll see. There's a guy, I actually forgot his name, but I listen to multiple draft podcasts. As you guys know, I listen to a shit ton of podcasts on a regular basis. But I listened to a draft podcast, and they pointed out one cat in particular that I need to pay attention to. And damn, I just realized how big this thing is, and it's kind of obscuring stuff. Hold on, let me fix that real quick. Let me fix my webcam so you guys can see it a little bit better. I'll resize it when we get back to doing normal shit. Anyway, so these TikToks. Oh man, I almost showed my fucking Discord. Sorry. Actually, I can't because it's locked into the one screen. This one screen that you guys are looking at. So, yeah. So this is a Kentucky offensive lineman named Darian Kennard. He's a fucking massive individual. He's 6'5" and like weighs. He's considered to be the strongest guy in the draft this year. So he's 6'5" and he weighs like 350 something pounds or whatever. They said the last update that I got on him was that he weighed 345, and he was at the Senior Bowl, so that's like an official weight and shit like that. But this is a video about him, and I did a little like I can't assess him. All I can do is show like highlights of him doing cool shit, like fucking destroying people. Right? That's my favorite thing to do. Look at cool stuff these guys have done, because they've all worked really hard to get to this point in their careers. And actually, when I posted this, I tagged him on Instagram, and he actually liked the video. So that's all the verification I need as a human being. Anyway, he liked this video, and I actually have a part in here where I talk about his mom, because he was raised by a single mother who was like going to nursing school, and then when she graduated from nursing school, she was a nurse in their hometown for a little bit, and then eventually Darian earned a scholarship to Kentucky, where he would go on like Lexington, Kentucky, the Kentucky Wildcats. If you watched the SEC or college football last season, you know that they had a really successful season last year, and Darian was a huge part of that, playing right tackle, and he's just massive as a human being, as you can tell from the video. He has this really weird video where he describes where he feels like people don't take enough pride in being American citizens, but that's a conversation for later on, and I think I know where that has come from. Anyway, but yeah, I talked about his mom being like a nurse and being a frontline worker for the COVID-19 pandemic, and how that is like a part of his story, because I think I said at the end like some catchy thing like, oh man, she might be looking at early retirement because he's projected to be like he's projected to be a first round, top of the second draft pick or whatever. But the guy I did yesterday, Bayless Jones Jr., you should definitely check it out. I liked his stuff a ton. My delay on Twitch is like a second today. That's really weird. Did I change the setting or something? It doesn't matter. But yeah, he went to USC he's been in college for 6 years. He's actually tied with like 6 other people for the oldest recruit or oldest NFL prospect in this year's draft, which is never great. Like, age is a big deal for a lot of NFL scouts, especially NBA scouts too. You hear about age being important as well all the time too, because usually people get people kind of mold themselves, right? And they kind of get stuck into a certain point, and they don't develop. And I think a lot of people's biggest concern about Bayless is that he is not going to develop as a wide receiver. Also, this year's draft is really weird in the sense that there is, how do I phrase this? There's a bunch of really, really good wide receivers. None of them are better than the quality that people are getting at other positions, and also all the wide receivers are like right around the same skill level according to a lot of people. Bayless Jones Jr.'s thing is that he's really fast. So he was a kick returner and punt returner And he didn't return punts until his final season at Tennessee, right? He, like I said before, he's like the oldest recruit. He's 25 years old. He'll be 25 before he plays a single snap in the NFL. And he's a rookie, a 25-year-old rookie, almost like Brandon Allen-esque. I think Brandon Allen didn't take his first snap until he was like 28 or some shit like that in the NFL. So that was kind of wild. But hey, you know, that's a big factor for him. But I hope he goes somewhere. A lot of people were talking about how his old coach from Tennessee is now with the New Orleans Saints. So they think that he could go there. Also, T. Martin was his offensive coordinator at USC. So there's some potential. I mean, he's with the Ravens now. So, you know, maybe a little look-see there. But as you can tell, a lot of people really interested in Logan Hall. Not very interested in these other videos that I did, but hey, what am I gonna do? I'm just glad people are paying attention, I guess. And then as I add more videos to this, it'll boost these other ones as well, especially if one lower in the thread pops off, because I think there's some people who are just interested in draft prospects overall. But right now, the Logan Hall one is really popping off. I'm really happy, one, because he's a kid from Texas, and I'll root for him. And then on top of that, he played for U of H, so always got to represent, you know what I mean? I didn't go to U of H or anything like that, but I like the rebellion that U of H represents within the realm of college football. They are the rebel forces essentially. Now they're part of the empire, the evil empire, because they're in the Big 12 now. But they, for a long time, were a big threat for a lot of Power 5 programs, because everybody knew that if you could recruit half the kids in Houston to one school, you probably be a dominant powerhouse. Just look at the list of guys who are from the Houston area. It's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, USC, yeah. The one today is about a UTSA DB that learned how to play corner in a very strange way. But yeah, these videos are not analysis of their skill or anything like that. I just point out like facts about their lives and their football careers. I try and find like personal stories, kind of what the ESPN draft does when they get drafted, minus talking about the people that died. So, but yeah, Bayless Jones Jr., fingers crossed they call his name, because he's got, I love, it sucks because he clearly like maximized the shit out of his educational opportunity when he was in college, because he has an undergrad and a master's degree in sociology, while also playing football for an SEC school and a Pac-12 school in USC. So this kid is clear. I mean, this guy, because he's only like 4 years younger than me. This guy is clearly gifted. Like, he's clearly very, very special. Like, as a person, hopefully NFL players, or hopefully NFL teams can figure out what to do with a person who clearly shows like a high level ability, like as a human being, to function and learn and take in information, and hopefully his game will change, because it seems like he's been kind of on like a roller coaster, because he's had to spend a lot of time competing against other NFL caliber wide receivers, like I talk about in this video. Anyway, follow me on TikTok at the Ashton Forever. Let's click on this trending topic here for the WNBA. If you don't know, this podcast really fucks with the WNBA. I talk about it a little bit on a regular basis. Here we go. What is the New York Liberty? Oh man. Yeah, so this is fucking stupid. There was a situation. So this is about the New York Liberty, which is the New York-based franchise in the WNBA. They were fined $500,000 by the WNBA for chartering flights in the second half of the season. Per who is this person? I need to follow them. Let's see if they got the full story on their Twitter account. By the way, shout out Howard Medgall. I'm gonna add you to my PBWA, Professional Basketball Women's Association, WNBA chair. Anyway, I'm going to add you to my WNBA list. If you don't know, if you go to my profile, you can follow these lists that I made. I have one for every major sport that I pay attention to, and it's all filled with like journalists and players, depending upon what's listed. So the WNBA media one is, and players one is filled with players and media. I have one for the challenge, but it's not very good. It doesn't have all of the competitors, because I only follow like the modern era people in there or whatever, but it's a way to get more of their stuff in my feed. If you don't know what lists are on Facebook, lists are like a way to make a pocket account. So like how you have an account, you follow people and that creates a feed. A list is a group of people that you don't technically follow, but you have a list that follows those people. And when you click on that list, it just has the feed of the people that are in the list and what they retweet. So it's like a mini pocket Twitter universe. Very useful for isolating high quality information. I have an NFL one. I have an NBA one. I got a WNBA one. I got an NFL draft one too, because the NFL draft is like fucking wild sometimes. Anyway, let's see if this guy's got something here. Let's see. It looks like we found our first story, guys. Let's see. Is this the article? Yeah, it is. Here we go. Study hall. The Liberty's repeated chartering of flights, a violation of CBA rules, is a window into the state of ownership in the league. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, I guess they probably explained it in this article, but this article is about the illegal chartering of flights, which means that they got private planes for WNBA players to fly in on to like 2 games. That's legitimately against the CBA because WNBA players fly on regular flights. They fly on commercial flights, and that's like written into the rules to preserve the amount of money that the league makes and all that kind of shit like that. So that is, let me double check that if you wanted to read this article that it's not. Yeah, so that's what this whole thing is about. The New York Liberty owner gave something to their players that is not actually legally allowed by the CBA, and it's honestly, the chartering of private flights is like something that one team would be able to do, and another team it will be something that's probably backbreaking for them, because there are, like, when there's bad team, like, you have to do stuff that is going to work for the bad teams during bad years, right? In the WNBA and really in any pro league, you have to do stuff that can be done for every team at every single level of your program. God damn it, dude. This is like the third pop-up I fucking closed. SI.com, now owned by... No, that's Deadspin. Never mind, I'm not going to say it. The New York Liberty's repeated chartering of flights, a violation of CBA rules, is a window into the state of ownership in the league. That is correct. Let me make sure y'all can read. You cannot. Ooh, it's like awkwardly right there too. That's brutal. I'm gonna make my screen smaller. Welcome to study. Oh, I'm supposed to have the ticker on here, and I forgot. Hold on. The ticker is supposed to help people identify. Let me call Smith. Paste, duplicate. Yeah. Sorry for the fast readers out there. You're gonna have to read at my pace today. The pace of a moron. I'm not a moron. I don't know why I said that. I did get a message from my ex-girlfriend from college, like freshman year of college, saying that I just want you to know you're an amazing person. She is married and has 2 children, but she also did see a video where one of Team USA Rugby's players, she got real famous during the Olympics or whatever on TikTok, and she asked the question of like, this is for all the people with big titties. What's it like? And then I talked about how I have big titties, and I feel like a lot of people miss the point of how it's not a big deal anymore. It used to be a big problem for me when I was younger, but then I realized people are bad people and that they shouldn't have control over how I see myself. Sorry, I'm trying to fix something. Nah, man. I got over it a long time ago. Like, especially now that I'm an adult, most adults are like semi-civilized. And they're just kind of like, wow, man, let me go tell that fat guy that he's fat. It makes a lot of sense in life, right? Anyway, back to this article. Sorry, rubbing in lotion. All right, so far in this article, if you are reading or don't care, so far in this article, we've had absolute hell break loose. So I think this is because Dede Richards did not know. Dede Richards, formerly of the Baylor Bears, if you're a big college basketball fan, but not a WNBA fan, which is strange. Dede Richards, formerly of Baylor University, now of the New York City Liberty, pointed out how she went to Napa Valley in California with the rest of the Liberty franchise together as a team, like via private flight or whatever over Labor Day weekend, and the league apparently, and of course that's a violation of the CBA agreement. Fits the players because it would be a competitive disadvantage. Which, guess what? The competitive disadvantage is you chose to open up a WNBA franchise in the middle of Indiana, and they chose to open up a WNBA franchise in New York City. So that's what the competitive disadvantage is. As a person who's been to I've been to maybe 12 WNBA games. Actually, one of them was a New York Liberty game. So yeah, I'm not even joking. It was pretty cool though. It was not recently. It was like 8 years ago. It was actually more than 8 years ago. It was like 12 years ago or some shit. Benefit that vastly exceeds the allowable compensation of players. So, like, yeah, they took it as if they were, like, paying them under the table. And the whole private flights is illegal, which is weird because wouldn't you want your players to have nice things? Ask yourself that. Players get nice things. Maybe they play better. And they don't have to worry about other things. Yeah, so they took this as like a competitive advantage, and then the league came down with what they thought was going to be a $1 million fine, which would have been record-breaking. Instead, they still continued to break the record for fine assessed to a team with a $500,000 fine, so $500,000 fine. And the removal of Liberty, and then they fired one of their executives from the executive committee from the WNBA. One of the Liberty executives from the WNBA executive committee. And it looks like, yep, as we all suspected, somebody snitched. It literally says, after someone alerted the WNBA to the Liberty's violations, possible remedies floated by the league's general counsel, Jamin Dershowitz, ranged from losing every draft pick you have ever seen to suspending ownership. Wow, this is fucking hilarious because this is basically, they think that they took the players out and shot them. Like, they're acting as if they killed someone with these punishments. Range from losing every draft pick you have ever seen, whatever the fuck that means, to suspending ownership, even grounds for termination of the franchise. Yeah, that, hey, that makes perfect sense. To stand upon the, like, I can't reiterate how stupid this fucking sounds. To think, like, to even entertain the idea of, like, we should just delete the Liberty. One of the longest, hold on, let me check this. WNBA franchise, WNBA franchises birth by year. Let's see what comes up. Probably not. It's probably not gonna give me what I want. So first of all, currently there are 18. No, there's 12. There are 12 current WNBA teams. So great. Be down to 11, which would completely disrupt the league. Let's see. Membership timeline. Here we go. So yeah, the New York Liberty are one of the founding members of the WNBA. So this would be the equivalent of, what does this blue line mean? Still active? I think it means still active because my precious Houston Comets are orange on this list. Oh, that hurts so bad. But yeah, the New York Liberty are one of the founding franchises of the WNBA, which this punishment will be the equivalent of, like, the NBA finding out that the Celtics were paying people more money, like, under the table, and then entertaining the idea of disbanding the Celtics. Because that makes perfect fucking sense, right? Or, like, getting rid of the Knicks because they were handing out bags of money as the players left the building one day. But yeah, anyway, the suspension, they were talking about this. Yeah. Wow. Like, how stupid would that, like, honestly, I think you should be fired if you even entertain that kind of idea. If you're the person who, like, even brought that up at the meeting, I think you should be fired. So this is the difference between the has and the have-nots, right? The NBA's over here worried about how racist their owners are pretty much year in and year out. We got the Suns ownership being the issue beforehand, and then the Clippers previous ownership being an issue, and then other stuff as well, right? And the WNBA is thinking about firing ownership because they gave their players things that were too nice. But the issue of charter flights, one that frequently animates the league's players on social media and led to the cancellation of a game in 2018. Hold on. Let me see this one. See, this is the beautiful part of study hall, guys. Let's see. Oh, they're talking about the normal way. But the issue of charter flights, one that frequently animates the league's players, social media. This is about... is simply a larger part of a more complicated tug of war taking place. Yeah. So this is about how there are commercial flights that the players take sometimes, and they get fucking canceled, and so the games get canceled. New comment platform. Wow, man. Salt Lake, like, I cannot emphasize how bad. I can't emphasize how bad newspaper websites are getting. They're getting worse somehow. Even though more technology exists, there are more people who are SEO fluent, and people who are more, like, their graphic design and website design is more prevalent than it's ever been, yet somehow newspaper websites are getting worse. Like, major newspapers. Hydration is not a laughing matter, kids. Hydrate. How long have we been live? I was only going to do this for an hour and a half. We got a whole nother hour, baby. We got 33 minutes. Cool. We're going to learn some shit today. by any means necessary. We're circling back to the Cain Velasquez story. I need to read the whole article about how we got to the point where Cain Velasquez is now up for attempted fucking murder, which would put him in jail, like, forever. Anyway. Yeah. Here we go. It's simply, so this is about how they're the quote unquote poor owners in the league, or the owners that don't want to spend the money on private flights for their players, but still want to be able to reap the benefits of having a WNBA team in terms of like gaining money or whatever. So it's about the new school people and the old school people in this one. And ironically enough, the New York Liberty, although a founding team, new school owners. A quarter century into its existence, the WNBA features a mix of aggressive. Let's see. What was that noise? We all heard that popping noise just now, right? Collectively? Whatever, I'm going to read the article. A quarter century into its existence, the WNBA features a mix of aggressive new owners eager to signal their optimism for the future and old school owners who prefer conservative approaches that define the league's past. This is happening within a broader landscape of massive investment across the women's sports. Really, for the first time in the U.S., don't forget we are also in the midst of a season that has got the most capital generated before the season started ever in the history of the WNBA. $75 million from a group of people who previously already sponsored the league and invested more into it, and then other partners who are just jumping onto the ship. Born from its unique scandal in which a prominent franchise stands accused of treating players too well. That's exactly what we're talking about here. And god damn it, they need to release the player shorts so that people can buy them. To understand the challenge facing Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and the WNBA, it is necessary to know first the ownership structure of the league. For the first 25 years, the WNBA has been owned 50% by the NBA's 30 teams, with the other 50% divided amongst each of the 12 WNBA teams. That has led, not surprisingly, to divergent views on how to maximize ownership stakes. For some owners, the WNBA has been a place to park losses elsewhere. I got a text message from my girlfriend about good morning, and it's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That is on me. In their corporations, some view it as pure charity. One WNBA owner proudly proclaims the value of a WNBA team to be zero, according to multiple league sources, and thus all he spends on his team is effectively a contribution towards the greater good of women's sports. It's called a future investment. And others have invested consistently in their teams, turning about half of them into consistent profit makers. But it's all been done on a small scale, because to make significant changes to status quo requires buy-in of not only the WNBA Board of Governors, but also the NBA Board of Governors, many of whom see profit or loss of the WNBA as a rounding error, which is tough. Great writing here, though. The July 2019 hiring of Engelbert came at a critical time for both the league, which has been in the midst of labor negotiation, and the New York franchise in particular. The Liberty, one of 3 remaining original teams, was owned by Jim Dolan, which explains a lot about why the Liberty were where they are, who one morning on November 17th issued a press release announcing his intention to sell, but no buyer. What followed was more than a year of uncertainty for the Liberty, playing at the Westchester County Center with a capacity of less than 3,000, a facility far from the team's longtime fan base at Madison Square Garden. It was the equivalent of leaving a team by the side of the road. True that. Joe Tsai is a co-founder of the Chinese tech giant Alibaba. Wow, by the way, if you don't know what Alibaba is, that means that Amazon's been doing their job, because that is literally their only competition. Amazon's only competition is Alibaba. And holy shit, he co-founded that. He and Clara purchased the Liberty in January 2019 at Barclays Center as well, thus providing New York with a professional quality venue. Meanwhile, as they stabilized the franchise, Engelbert and the WNBA PA reached an agreement on a long-term CBA in January 20th that would run through 2027, I'm assuming. I'm assuming it's January 2020 or through 2027. It included significant increases in maximum salary, that small number to big number, while salary cap increased roughly 30%. Asked on January 20th media call about how the WNBA intended to pay for this, Engelbert said, "This is why we have a multifaceted strategy to transform the league. Ultimately, we need to drive in new fans, more ticket sales, more viewership, drive the value of our franchises and asset up so we can sell the league and sell it successfully. That's what we're working on." Should I continue to read? What Engelbert was working on now that she had locked in fixed labor costs through 2027 was capital raise. One she hoped would be driven by rising tides of revenues like ticket sales and in-arena sponsorship. New money would allow the league to professionalize an array of areas that have been long neglected, from the league's digital offering to the WNBA League Pass to how the league sells merchandise. My biggest critique about the League Pass is that if the game is on, like the big games in the season, I can't watch it on the League Pass because it's blacked out to force me to go watch it on TV like we're in the fucking 20s. So I would appreciate if they changed that immediately. Less than 2 months later, and I get it's because their streaming advertisement isn't where it needs to be, but it's not where it needs to be because all the games aren't available on the fucking League Pass. Less than 2 months later, of course, the world stopped due to COVID-19, and suddenly a capital raise served dual purpose, helping the WNBA grow and covering losses that the league, like all professional sports, suffered during the time of attendance. Not only fell, but was impossible to even have. League operating income before accounting for profits or losses per team dropped from $27.7 million the last 2019 fiscal year to, they raised less than half of what they normally, or what they did in 2019 and 2020, $11.1 million. So $11.1 million is what they got in comparison to 27.7 from 2019 in a fiscal year 2020, according to internal league estimates reviewed by SI. For teams watching every penny, especially those losing money, which is the bad teams, right? This provided a vital impetus for capital raise. There was a WNBA owner who could not afford to spend endlessly, but others, like Tesai's, increasingly are playing a different game. The terms were laid out to owners by early 2020, a $50 million cash infusion through an investment from a combination of current owners and outside investors, which would call for the league to sell 20% of its total equity, working off an evaluation of $200 million. As the vaccination drive lagged through 2021, and with it delayed the return of full capacity WNBA arenas. That's right, anti-vaxxers are out here costing niggas money. Engelbert and the league faced pressures on several fronts. Simply conducting a season was its own challenge, while mollifying some old school WNBA owners as the capital raise talks continued was another. And while many players continued to loudly call for improving travel conditions, charter flights being the most visible part of that effort, the league found the players had an unexpected source of support for that expense from the new owner, who viewed the WNBA teams less as a business to be managed to the last dollar or a place to park losses, and more as a growth opportunity in the developing economy. What a concept! You treat something like it's a good thing, and good things happen. You treat something like it means something and put value to it, and it gives you value back. What a concept. What a concept, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus Christ. It makes you wonder, like, why. Like, it's almost like there are people who are involved with the WNBA who actually hate women's basketball. It's really weird. New owners, the Desai's in New York, Mark Lohr in Minnesota, Larry Godsender in Atlanta, Mark Davis in Las Vegas. Yes, that Mark Davis who owns the Raiders. Yes, that one. Found themselves dumbstruck by how little the WNBA could invest in growth. A sale of 20% of the league's equity at the moment, especially at the valuation of $200 million, felt like a huge loss, even though the new investors outside the league's owners would not control any votes in the WNBA's executive committee. On September 13th, according to the source familiar with the call, the WNBA Board of Governors considered an unofficial proposal for the Liberty to make charter flights the default travel option for WNBA teams. The Liberty said they found a way to get it comped for everyone in the league for 3 years, but it lacked majority support. Some owners worried that players would get used to it, so there'd be no going back. Oh, man. Wow. And others wondered whether players might just prefer a salary hike instead, which Makes sense to a certain degree. The last one is a legitimate question to ask. The first one is like, we can't have these niggas getting too uppity. And I say the niggas, and I mean the white ladies in the WNBA too. I mean the niggas being the WNBA players, right? Can't have these motherfuckers getting too uppity out here, getting used to having leg room as a way above average height women and professional athletes, right? Yeah, what a concept. So why are charter flights so important? In a February news conference, Storm guard Sue Bird amply summed up the significance to the league. I think charter flights represents in the world of sports is it gives you a little bit of validation, she said. It's saying your league is so successful, it has the finances to charter flights, which is important, which is a very big deal, which is incredibly expensive. There's not many businesses that just charter flights left and right. So I think for a lot of us, it would just be an indicator of that. It'd be an indicator of financial success. But the Liberty were unwilling to wait for the league-wide indicator. By the time of that September 13th call, New York had already taken things into its own hands, as Joe Tsai had publicly promised after a late June travel snafu. This is probably when, yeah. So this is when, is this the one where like half the flights in the league got canceled in one day and I think they had to cancel a bunch of games? Enough is enough. I'm going to solve this transportation problem for good at WNBA at New York Liberty. He said, if nobody will do it, God damn it, I'ma do it. The Liberty, who declined to comment to SI, chartered flights for each road game of the season's second half beginning in August with a trip to Minnesota, and eventually, despite a cone of silence over their franchise about it, word got out. One WNBA front office member noticed that some of the travel details didn't add up during the New York road trip, the 2021 All-Star break. So they got people out here snitching. Like that's literally what it is. Then another saw the same. Those officials reported their findings to the league, and the Liberty received inquiries and demands to cease and desist repeated unauthorized charter flights from Dershowitz, the league's general counsel. I would just like to point out right now, if there is one person that is getting mad fucking love right now, it's the billionaire Joe Tsai, who was like, fuck these fucking rules. He's like, I'm going to get my ladies where they need to go, and I'm going to make sure they have fun doing it, goddammit. And then the league looks bad. So, great job by the league to shit on somebody trying to do something nice. Because once again, they're not asking for money from the league to be able to do this, right? Like, this is probably coming out of Joe Tsai's connections in some way, shape, or form. And because he has the connections and all the other poor people all the other poor rich people don't, doesn't mean that he should suffer. Which, of course, so weird. Because you find yourself, like once again, you find yourself, he's just like, I feel like this is a situation where he just so happens to be supporting women's basketball at a high level. To him, it's like, this is something that my players are going to use, and it's going to help them become like better players in the long run. It is going to benefit me more to use something that doesn't cost me a bunch of money to give to them that is going to make a big difference. And the only people standing in my way are poor people whining about how I shouldn't be able to spend my money the way that I should want to spend my money, which is essentially what he's saying. Let's see, where were we at? Oh, in a September 21st reply to Dershowitz, sorry. Yeah, it's Dershowitz. It is not the ER. It's D-E-R Showitz. Yeah, Dershowitz, not Dershowitz. Liberty alternate governor Oliver Weisberg wrote in a letter later reviewed by SI, the focus on objecting to better travel arrangements seems to go against the spirit of what the entire league is trying to achieve under the leadership of WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. He continued, we cannot begin to talk about gender equity until we solve some of the pressing issues that have been putting extra burdens on the health and well-being of WNBA players. In the spirit of improving working conditions for our female athletes, we are of the strong belief that the WNBA team should be permitted to arrange travel that is consistent with the fact that they are professional athletes. I would like to also point out, if you let them do what they want in terms of travel, probably there's going to be at least 3 teams that are catching the bus. Just facts. A week later, even as the Liberty were facing potential discipline from the CBA violation, Joe Tsai went public with his support of charter flights on Twitter. I'm glad someone spoke up. Ramona Shelburne tweeted out, the WNBA playoffs have been great so far. Travel is still a problem, though. The best women's players in the world are taking 3 separate flights, which is a real fucking thing. I remember reading that shit, because Liz Cambage is, like, real vocal about it. Jasmine Jones is vocal about it. I want to say Lexi Brown, and, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She's one of the title athletes for Adidas. Anyway, the best women's players in the world are taking 3 separate flights in between playoffs games so they don't get stuck in middle seats on commercial air flights, which is a real thing in case you didn't know. They're WNBA players. They're all taller than the average person. They're all taller than the average woman for the most part, and they have to make sure that they have the ability to stretch their legs out. League says you can't fly charter because different owners have different financial circumstances. I'm working with Commissioner Engelbert to find a charter sponsor. Conversations with the airline CEOs going well. They get the idea of equity for women's athletes. The action by the Liberty alienated even some owners who support the idea of charter flights, while leaving other owners wondering whether the CBA would be enforced at all. But which, by the way, is very important, because if the CBA is not enforced, that means that all of a sudden other CBA violations, like, I don't know, the amount of money that players make starts to become a big question of, like, man, we set these rules and we agreed on these rules, and just because you don't like them doesn't mean that you don't get to follow them. That makes kind of sense. The WNBA did not want a massive off-court story to get in the way of coverage either. That gave the New York plenty of leverage. So the Liberty, even as they acceded to the league's wishes and did not charter a flight for their first round playoff game in Phoenix to push back on the league's $1 million fine, not typically a decision, with appeals ultimately that led Engelbert, according to multiple participants in the Board of Governors call in early November, to say, I cut a deal with Joe, reducing the fine to $500,000, which was relayed to the executive committee in a Zoom call that month, with further discussion of what penalties for another CBA violation would be. The WNBA says $1 million was floated informally but never formally presented to New York as a punishment. No lost draft picks, no discussion of whether further sanctions would escalate from an additional defiance of the CBA. One WNBA front office member wondered, for $500,000, can any team do anything they want in pursuit of a title? There you go. Like we just talked about, if there's a price on breaking the rules, there's plenty of people that's willing to pay. And at the end of the day, if the league is willing to let it slide, maybe they're going to let it slide, because $500,000 goes a long way. Another wondered why the Liberty had been permitted to participate in the 2021 playoffs at all. We all know why. Not only did they earn their spot, but on top of that, money. We're not canceling playoff series here, you fucking idiots. Like, that's my thing. Like, who's asking, like, why didn't they pull them out the playoffs? You gonna pay for the money that we're gonna lose for not having a New York team in the playoffs? Especially with Sabrina Ionescu, who's supposed to be like the new shiny face of the league. She's the chosen one, according to Kobe. One person that's been publicly endorsed on a high level by Kobe Bryant on so many different ways. Somebody that Kobe Bryant was close to, and somebody that, honestly, via Kobe Bryant, the world learned about Sabrina Ionescu because of how well she did at Oregon and stuff like that. But also on top of that, Kobe Bryant signing off on Sabrina signed up a lot of dudes to be invested in Sabrina. And I say dudes, I mean just people in general. A lot of hoopers to be invested in Sabrina Ionescu in general. Meanwhile, and then of course she had like the first triple-double in like league history or whatever. Meanwhile, the league was facing a revolt over some aspects of its capital raise, specifically on the issue of valuation. A number of WNBA owners wanted to borrow or simply loan the $50 million to the league themselves rather than sell equity, which is actually, you think about it, you get to maintain and keep the equity, but you get money from the owners. Of course, those owners are probably going to be vying heavily to like lend the most amount of money because it'll give them leverage over the league. But at the end of the day, you'd rather be dealing with the same snakes that you know before than have to deal with a whole new group of people. And the one key point that they were making here, the people who were buying into the league and got those portions or investment stocks into the league or whatever, did not have a vote on the direction that the league was going in. They literally owned part of the league that would eventually increase the value. You're basically banking on the value of the league to increase to later sell those without question, or hold on to them until they become extremely valuable, and then try and work your way into having some kind of sway. And I'm sure they may not have a vote on the executive committee, but guess what they got? They got people's phone numbers. They got pocketbooks, and they got people's phone numbers, and that sometimes is more powerful than any vote can be, sad to say. A number of WNBA owners wanted to borrow or simply loan the $50 million to the league themselves rather than sell equity, believing that the value of women's sports franchise was far higher than $16.6 million, $16.6 million, a pre-raise evaluation, pre-raise $200 million league valuation. I implied $200 million divided by the 12 teams, which, goddamn, that actually, I see why Mark Davis and those new owners were upset. 16.6 is real low, really low. That left Engelbert with, in essence, three camps within ownership: those who wanted the capital raise and were willing to participate, those who needed the capital raise but couldn't or wouldn't participate, and those who thought the capital raise simply wasn't thinking big enough. I would put myself in the final category, where it seems like there's great optimism about how great the WNBA could become if they just respected themselves a little bit more. Well, I say them, but I mean the business side, not the players or anything like that. As this work continued, data points in professional U.S. women's sports helped bolster the Go Big faction, the National Women's Soccer League. Oh, and then, of course, just a couple of days ago, they just had the equal pay lawsuit that came through, so that probably didn't help either. That probably helped very much so. Megan Rapinoe's Reign FC sold at valuation of $3.5 million, which is really impressive for a soccer team, a women's soccer team just in general, but on top of that, a women's soccer team that is not on TV or not on basic cable. By early 2022, the Spirit, after a pitched battle for control, were sold to Michelle King for $35 million. And I think the Spirit actually won the league. I think the Spirit actually won the NWSL. Hold on, let me do some research here, boys. WSL champions. Wikipedia. There's some big thing about why the Spirit were so good. Membership timeline. The Spirit. Washington Spirit founding team in 2013. So that probably gives them a lot more value. Let's see. Founded, joined, head coach, male affiliate capacity. They play at multiple fields? That's weird. Oh, they played at two different fields, and one is at 20,000, which puts them, looks like right in the middle in terms of capacity sold or whatever. Control home. Sorry. Trying to see statistical leaders, management, controversies. Let's not do controversies. I just want a list of the people who have won the league. What the fuck? So last year the best goal scorer and the rookie of the year and the goalkeeper of the year all played for the Spirit. So yeah. There's that. Statistical leaders. What the fuck? Also, I think the Spirit was around when they got the TV contract deal that allowed them to be on TV. So this Challenger Cup is the one that the Houston Dash won. I remember that. I watched that with my friend Beth. It was dope. It was good times. Here we go. List of champions. Yeah, the Washington Spirit won the 2021 championship. So, and their team is OP as fuck. And they were second most attended championship game ever. The other one was the 2015. Wow. 2015 championship? I don't know. But yeah, this is the play. See, this is the thing right here. I think we need to start doing this in sports, bro. Like, so the NWSL is smart as fuck. They did both systems, right? Because there's technically 2 champions every year. So there's the NWSL Shield, which goes to the regular season champion. Like, if you had the best record at the end of the season, you fucking won something. NWSL champion, the person who wins the playoffs, wins something else. So, like, if you made the playoffs and then you win, you get a trophy too, and there's technically 2 champions. Just like there is in, like, every sport that you've ever watched, guys. There's technically 2 champions. No team starts off in the playoffs, right? Anyway, both the NWSL and Premier Hockey Federation, the Women Professional Hockey League, kept investment internal and raised significant sums, $25 million by the Professional Hockey League, which, by the way, isn't that shut down? I thought that shut down during 2020 because I was like, whatever. We're not looking that up. $100 million by NWSL. So like So they got $100 million. It's fucking wild. And all that was because they didn't sell out to people externally, according to this article. Would some WNBA owners have been more willing or able to bet on themselves without selling equity, if not for the difficult 2020-2021 seasons, especially if attendance rise had matched the increase saw? Yes, I was waiting for us to get to this point. Remember, we talked about this in 2020 on this show, guys. There were only 2 sports that really saw like a big time increase in terms of like viewership, in terms of ratings, right? It was the UFC with MMA, because they had just signed a deal with ESPN Plus, and they started being on ESPN on a regular basis. And then it was the WNBA. The WNBA saw a massive boost, an increase in actual television ratings, which is actually a more genuine reflection of like the number of people watching, because they're not like they're not spamming like the different things that go along with it, right? Like, they don't put the WNBA on in like doctor's offices. Like, the WNBA is on at specific times. You have to seek it out to be able to watch it. Let's see. And of course, this is like, it's a question that won't ever be answered, where they asked, would there have been more investment in the league in the year of 2020 when the ratings continue to increase? Looks like we got our first bot of the day. Shout out to the bot. Let's see. Anyway. Ultimately, the final pre-race evaluation, Engelbert and the league landed on rose to $4 million, as detailed in December 29th. Landed on rose to $4 million, as detailed in a December 29th letter to the WNBA Board of Governors requesting their final votes by January 4th. The WNBA maintains that the final evaluation was $1 billion. Asked to explain the discrepancy, the league did not provide on-record response. The league sold significant. By the way, $1 billion would make it like a unicorn, right? Like, that's the evaluation before you go public, before you sell any shares to anybody externally from the organization, and you get over $1 billion, it makes you a unicorn. And honestly, valuations can be bullshit because they're heavily market dependent based off of what people actually value, and sometimes people don't value things that don't directly create money. But the WNBA is one of those things that directly creates money, attendance money. Asked to explain this discrepancy, the league did not provide an on-record response. The league sold significant equity to everyone from 6 of the 12 current owners, including the size of the Go Big coalition, to outsiders like Condoleezza Rice and even Nike, for a total new round of $75 million in capital, which is the story that broke out, right? They sold externally and they got new money from people outside of the league, and they also got money from the people who who just so happened to own WNBA teams, but also invested personally, and they got them $75 million more in terms of the money that they got back. The new equity is owned, according to a league document reviewed by SI, 42.1 by current WNBA owners, 42.1 by NBA owners, and 15.8% among the new investors effectively, which means that 15.8% of the ownership of the league is outside of either NBA teams or WNBA owners. So they were, earlier they mentioned they were going to sell like 20%, and they only sold like 16% essentially. Effectively, which leaves them some room like even after this season or next season, to go out there and sell that final 5% or go out there and sell that final 4% for even more money than they got for the 15%. So including some of the current WNBA owners as well who participated in the raise. Yeah, so that's the thing too. So I think they didn't count the current WNBA owners who invested in this 15%. I'm sure we all expected this is how we were going to spend the rest of our day. Wow, this is a massive article. This is why people don't read shit anymore. Because, like, whatever. Yeah, anyway. We got a couple more paragraphs and then we're moving on. How much time is this taking? Oh, we got like 24 minutes. Cool. We got 26 minutes left and we'll move on with our lives. Apparently we got some more notifications. Hopefully it's from the fucking agent of Logan Hall saying that he can come on the show. It is not. It's just more retweets and likes. Where were we at? Oh, we're not looking at ourselves. We were looking. That's about Dak Prescott. This incredible group of investors we've put together here have stepped in, and I think a great way to help us drive growth. Engelbert told reporters, that's the commissioner of the WNBA, it can be understated because we constantly read about women's business struggling and having barriers to accessing capital, that this is the largest capital raise for a women's sports property. Everybody's always looking to be number one, and I think that's a big part of it. Like every rapper's trying to tell you that they did something that's never been done before when it's been done before. We're featuring external investors and in-family investors through the NBA and WNBA owners and former players, which is true. Renee Montgomery, big part of the organization that owns the Atlanta Dream, which is massive. I wonder what they did about those WNBA players who got into a fight in front of a food truck. Somebody looked that up and told me what happened. The same week, NWSL owners committed to $100 million of investment themselves. The new CBA for the NWSL allows for a dramatically expanded salary cap, and notably a soft one, with allocation money essentially padding that allows the team to exceed the cap, which is, of course, I think is the best form of salary cap because, one, it gives you the option of going into the luxury tax if you want to spend that extra money and try and make that push. And because even if you look at the NBA right now, right, like the luxury tax, if you don't know, there's like, so let's just deal with like a basic thing. Let's say the salary cap, this is not realistic numbers because the salary cap is like hundreds of millions of dollars. I think it's like 232 current NBA salary cap. It's 121. Yeah. So this is it right here. So 121 is the regular salary cap for this season right now, and then 147 is where the luxury tax begins. Which in the luxury tax, so this is in the luxury tax you have two different categories, right? You have one that makes it a dollar for dollar. So every dollar that you spend on the luxury tax or inside the luxury tax, you have to pay $1 to the league. And if you go into the extreme category beyond like the normal bandwidth within that luxury tax, you have to pay $2 per every dollar you spend. So it would take, if you wanted to sign somebody for $10 million or in a trade or something like that, it would mean you have to pay $10 million if you went over the original salary cap. The original assigned salary cap number, which is 121, and you wanted to get to 131 in terms of the salary cap, you would have to pay $10 million to the league and $10 million to that player, right? The $10 million to the league is the luxury tax in and of itself. There's a 2-for-1 if you go way too far, way too fucking deep in the luxury tax, and you never want to be in that territory. You're literally doubling, because the player that you're signing in that territory had better be fucking worth it, because their salary cap is essentially 3 times, right? Because you have to have the money to pay them and then twice as much money to pay the league. So that the soft salary cap lets you go out there, and if you want to hang yourself, you can. And I think that adds a little bit more to the money game aspect of sports that I think we can appreciate to a certain degree. Giving a team like the Spirit a chance to pay reigning Rookie of the Year Trinity Rodman. Yes, this is Trinity Rodman. She's on Team USA, Women's Team USA, and she's the daughter of Dennis Rodman over the next 4 years. And they're saying that because of the soft salary cap, they can pay her money that she normally wouldn't get at $1.1 million to sign her to like basically a franchise type deal immediately, so that they don't have to worry about having to do it later, which is going to be worth a lot more. Not only is that greater than the WNBA's max salary would allow, but it happened after Rodman played just one season in the league. So the NWSL, by measures that they're talking about right here, they feel like is leaps and bounds ahead of the WNBA, which has been around a lot longer. The fear was that the overseas money could lure her away, with the WNBA CBA closing down the ability for players to report late from overseas commitments in the W season. This is a problem. This is stupid. With the WNBA CBA closing down the ability for players to report late, which is wild as hell. This is a problem the league will face soon as well. Pretty stupid. Don't know why you would try and make it even more difficult for high-quality players to play in your league. But hey, I'm not rich for a reason. Increasingly, the WNBA owners most interested in aggressively advancing the league's spending aren't willing to keep those conversations private. Because when it's out there in the public, because they know that their desire to push the league forward lines up with a lot of, or it lines up with the societal thinking that women should make more money for playing in the WNBA. Women should make more money overall. Women's sports is disrespected. It lines up with that. So why not tell people that that's what your goal is? Because being it removes you from the list of people that could be potentially perceived as the villain in the situation, right? And then it applies pressure for other people to come out in support of what you said, right? Or people will just assume that you're a part of the coalition of people that don't want to give women more money. And then, of course, you ask the question like, why don't you want to give women more money, right? Anyway. In an early February Zoom with media, Davis recalled a conversation he'd had before his purchase of the Aces with Bill Hornbuckle. Wow, that's not a real person. An executive with the Aces owner, MGM. Yeah. I kept trying to tell him every game as a fan that you've got to pay these players more money. You've got to pay these players more money. And he finally looked at me and said, listen, if you want them to be paid more money, buy the team and you pay them. And eventually that's what we did. And the problem that I ran to right away is I wanted the women to make more money, but it's collectively bargained and there's a limit on the amount that we can pay them right now. So Davis went out and paid his new coach, Becky Hammon, $1 million a year because coaching salaries aren't in the CBA, and the charters are, of course, but Davis wanted to change things too. The players do deserve more money. They don't need to be flying on commercial flights. Davis says we should have charter flights. New York spent the offseason dreaming big, including a pursuit that led to a meeting with the Storm's Brianna Stewart, a generational talent and former MVP who grew up just a few hours away from the Barclays Center in North Syracuse. While Stewart opted to re-sign with the Seattle Storm, which, front runners for the championship, along with the Phoenix Mercury and, of course, the Chicago Sky to a certain degree if they can maintain it. And, of course, the LA Sparks got to be in the mix a little bit too. And, of course, my Las Vegas Aces, always in the mix. Certainly, teammate Bird's final season, she committed for just 1 year. And, wow, it would be wild if Brianna Stewart went back to New York and teamed up with Sabrina Ionescu. In the meantime, the Liberty added Stewart's former UConn teammate, Stephanie Dolson, Big Mama Steph, shout out to her. Finest, very beautiful woman. Follow her Instagram. You're welcome in advance. A center whose game would fit well with Stewart's in the New York front court, and also very good at basketball. She, I think, top five in blocks in the WNBA last season. Dolson had played for the Sky, winning a WNBA title in Chicago in 2021. So why did she come to New York? The entire franchise, you can tell, they really just care about their players. Huh. It's almost like people want to be places that people... It's almost like people want to be places where they're liked and well received. Maria Marino. Sorry, I'm looking at this name in this article, and I've got to go follow this lady in case she covers the Liberty. What a name to have, like, in cover sports, you know what I mean? Maria Marino. I'm already following her. All right, cool. She went to UConn, and all right, did not know I followed her. Don't worry, guys. We're gonna get to that murder. Don't worry about it. They care about the level of basketball they put on the court, which we can produce the best when we're not really worried about the other stuff, like where we are going to practice or how we're going to travel, what's the schedule, just like all that other stuff. When we can focus on just basketball, we can put our best product. We can put out our best product, and that's the end of the article, ladies and gentlemen. We made it. We made it to the end of that absolutely massive, unnecessarily long article, but it was very informative. I learned a lot just now. All right, we're doing Cain Velasquez. Study hall has been very informative, guys. Let's see. Take a chance to sip some water. Whew. This article is written by Liz Rocher. Let's see if I follow her on Twitter. By the way, this is how you build up your sports knowledge, guys. You surround yourself with people who are constantly putting out sports knowledge. Let's see, what does she write? Former manager, The Good Fight. All right, writer and editor for Yahoo Sports. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to just follow her because I don't have a category to put her in. But she's also followed by like 16 other writers that I follow, like Lindsay D'Arcangelo, who's been on this show before. What else? Oh, Britt List follows her. Britt List is a powerlifter that is also an Eagles fan, which may be a part of why I know so much about the Eagles, honestly. Mike Freeman, who follows me on Twitter, has retweeted my stuff, has responded to my messages, but he has looked at my DM asking him to come on the show and not responded. So, ex-UFC champ Cain Velasquez arrested for attempted murder after Bay Area shooting. The Bay Area shooting part, not surprising. Shit happens. Also, what's Cain doing with a gun? He should just be murdering people with his hands. Former UFC champion Cain Velasquez has been arrested on an attempted murder charge in relation to shooting that took place on Monday in Morgan Hill, California. Have no idea where Morgan Hill, California is, but it seems like it's near San Jose based off of this tweet. Very little is known about the shooting at this point. What we do know is it took place on Monday at 3:14 p.m. God damn. Near the intersection Monterey Highway and Bailey Avenue. One man was shot and taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. This is a tweet by the San Jose Police Department Media Relations, which, by the way, what a time to live in where every police department needs a media relations department, media relations section. Units are currently at the scene of the shooting near the intersection of Monterey Highway and Bailey Avenue. One adult male shot at least once, transported to the local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. One suspect in custody. Unknown motive is the circumstances. Velasquez was arrested on a charge of attempted murder late Monday night and is being held in Santa Clara County for Santa Clara County Department of Corrections without bail. According to the Department of Corrections website, Cain has a court date scheduled for Wednesday, so that is 2 days from now, right? Today is Tuesday, so it's tomorrow. And they put his photo out there and everything. Cain Velasquez was the suspect arrested yesterday in connection with the incident. He was booked into Santa Clara County main jail for attempted murder. The motive and circumstances surrounding the incident are still under investigation at this time. Velasquez, 39, and doesn't Cain have like 3 kids? Velasquez is a former 2-time heavyweight champion, though he's not officially retired. He hasn't fought since February 2019 when he was knocked out in 26 seconds by current heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou. In 3 years since that loss, Velasquez has tried out professional wrestling in Mexico and the United States with the WWE. According to San Jose Police Department, the circumstances behind the shooting as well as Velasquez's alleged motives are still under investigation. So one thing about Cain's like Mexican as fuck, like hardcore. That's like his culture. Like he trains in Mexico City. Remember, like a couple, seems like forever ago, but I think it was like 4 years ago. Kane had like a big deal because he was trying to go become a 2-belt champion, right? I think he had the light hit. No, was he trying to be a 2-belt? Anyway, he fought in Mexico City, and it was like a big deal. He is hardcore about where he's from, which is, of course, Mexico. He's very prideful about his home country and his people, and that's what the whole luchador thing in Mexico was. Which, by the way, like, if there was ever a type of wrestling to get into that I thought would be cool, definitely be being a luchador. Fucking lit. I'm going to take this moment to take a small break to plug my phone in because it's at 2%. And also grab some more water. So we're going to hit the hydration break real quick. And as a matter of fact, we're going to play the music. God damn, I had so many fucking windows open, guys. We're going to hit it. Come on. There it is. That's not the song I want, but all right. There we go. That's my favorite song that she's ever made, straight up. Hydration break. We'll be right back. Yeah, so we can just keep the beats going. Finish that song, but I'm gonna read. What do we got? What time we got? We got 9 minutes left, so I'm going to finish reading some more articles. This one is about Dak. Apparently he got. Oh no, my bad. Everybody's in Indy. What the fuck? What is this story? Jesus, man. Dallas Cowboy coach Mike McCarthy said Dak Prescott had surgery on his left shoulder last week, but it will not impact the quarterback's availability for the offseason program. It's still kind of wild that you have quarterbacks going on who have been on the team for like 6 years going to offseason programs, but whatever. McCarthy said the non-throwing shoulder injury was an irritant to Prescott, which, by the way, matches up with what happened in Hard Knocks. Matches up what happened in Hard Knocks. So, sorry, let me get the screen back to where it's supposed to be. Matches up with what happened in Hard Knocks, which is a little strange. What are we doing? Screen capture. I think screen capture changed. It did not. I just didn't change the thing. Wow, man. My brain is slower when I have to think about like entertainment stuff. Anyway, but yeah, that matches up with that random time that Dak said he hurt his shoulder during training camp or whatever. Must have been something pretty important if he had to get surgery on it. Couldn't just wait it out. Said the season progressed, but he did not think it impacted the quarterback's play last season. Prescott missed a game because of a left calf strain suffered in an overtime win against the New England Patriots. He did not He was not on the injury report during the season with a shoulder problem. McCarthy termed the surgery as cleanup. He said Prescott had been at the Star for rehab and workouts already with a number of teammates. Prescott passed on a chance of playing at the Pro Bowl after a long season. Yeah, also like passed on playing two-hand touch for 3 hours on TV for no reason. The ankle injury kept Prescott at a limited. I feel like they should be turning the Pro Bowl into. First of all, I didn't say it on the show at the time because I think I spaced on it. But oh man, if you're Vegas, like you can't allow people to bet on the Pro Bowl anymore, right? Like out of integrity, like they're clearly rigging certain things to happen. And then, of course, like the two-hand touch rule is like very subjective. Yeah, if they're not tackling, there's no way to. It's getting progressively worse. Like, there's no way that you can, in good conscience, as like a betting organization, put bets out there for people. And I know they probably made millions of dollars off of it because there are always people who are going to be willing to bet on, who are going to be willing to bet on anything that you put out there. So, but yeah. Other than that, I feel like if you just go to the Pro Bowl and turn it into like an absurd recruiting trip to be like, hey man, like, so what are you doing next season? You know, what are you doing in 2 years? Think about it, you know? Think about the Cleveland Browns when you're free. Anyway, Prescott passed on a chance to play in the Pro Bowl. Smart, just for like not doing it. He was coming back from 2 surgeries on the compound fracture and the dislocation of his right ankle and the right latissimus strain he suffered during training camp. The ankle injury kept... You know what? This is study hall, so we're going to learn some shit. I'm going to look this up. I want to know what this is. Oh, dorsal function has to do with the flexion of your ankle. What is it? The latissimus dorsi muscle is a broad, flat muscle that occupies the majority of your lower posterior thorax. The muscle's primary function is the upper extremity, but is also considered to be a respiratory accessory muscle. What is the latissimus? All right. So if I click on this, is it going to show me like a graphic of where it is in my body? Anatomy is attached to the bone. I just want to see a picture of it. Associated conditions, rehabilitation. Sounds like it sucks. But yeah, this is what we're doing, guys. Oh. I thought dorsal always, I guess dorsiflexion is a type of movement. I did not think that that's your lat. I don't know why. Okay. Well, we learned that latissimus is just the term for lat. Anyway, the ankle injury kept, which makes sense. The ankle injury kept Prescott at a limited participation in the all-season program in 2021. Last season, Prescott set a franchise record of 37 passing touchdowns. He completed 400. Yeah, that's just a basic stat. I'm not going to read the blatant threat from Kyler Murray. I'm going to read this thing about this Panthers tight end. Wow. Holy shit. Newly signed Carolina Panthers tight end Ian Thomas faces 5 misdemeanor charges. Tight end Ian Thomas, who last week signed a 3-year extension with the Carolina Panthers, faces 5 misdemeanor charges for attempting to escape the police on a dirt bike in July. According to the police report obtained by ESPN, Thomas was placed under arrest for failure to heed the blue lights and sirens, recklessly driving and operating an uninsured, unregistered dirt bike, which it is illegal to drive dirt bikes on federal or state roads. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget that. I think that's like a universal law across America. There's actually a video that helps me remember that that's against the law, and it is 2 guys who are riding dirt bikes. One of them is able, because there's like a ditch on both sides, he's able to use the ditch like a ramp and completely clear the street, and he never touches the street. One dude crashes, lands in the second lane, the far lane, from the opposite side of where he jumped off from, and the cop like writes him a ticket for illegally riding an illegal vehicle on a state road. And he's like, oh, my friend just like leaped over. He's like, yeah, your friend didn't touch the road and you did. That's literally a thing. According to the police report obtained by ESPN, Thomas was placed under arrest for failure to heed the blue lights and sirens. This happened in Huntersville, North Carolina. I'm assuming that's a suburb of North Carolina. The incident surfaced on Monday, 3 days after Thomas received a 3-year, $16.95 million extension, which, by the way, where's that .05 going? That's seven. How is it just not a $17 million extension? Like, what did they use to determine, like, you're not getting 17, but 16.95. 16.95. Deal to avoid becoming a free agent. A team spokesperson said the team was aware of the matter, and yeah, they probably knew that was going to happen. I'm sure they did. I'm sure the cops or the people, the mysterious people that work for every single NFL team that somehow are connected to the cops. It's almost like they're a cop or something. A team spokesperson said that the team was aware of the matter and notified the league at the time the incident occurred. Since this is the pending legal matter, we won't have any further comment. If that's not like the clutchest policy ever, like in NFL history, being like, oh, this is a pending legal matter, we will not be commenting on it. And when whatever happens after the legal matter, we will then just reiterate whatever the legal judge who has the power to do so said. So, yeah. Thomas, 25, was the 4th-round pick out of Indiana in 2018. While he never materialized as the receiving threat the team had hoped he would be, his value as a blocker was deemed worthy of a deal. That's right, kids. Versatility is the best ability. Let's see. Custom study from the NFL. Nielsen found 208 million people watched the Super Bowl. Let's see. What made this custom study so customized? Initially reported. Nielsen initially reported 167 unique viewers viewed the game for at least 1 minute, which is not a lot, but I wouldn't call that viewing the game. I would call that turning the channel on and then moving on. But the study looked closer at the viewership among groups at parties. See, like, that's what I'm talking about. If you can figure out the number of motherfuckers who were in each house when the game was going on, or like an average number of those motherfuckers, or who people were in a bar and a restaurant, that's the kind of numbers you want to be able to take to a advertiser and be like, actually, because we were on in this bar at this time, this bar that was at full capacity, or like this whole block of bars that were at full capacity, we quadrupled the number of people who saw your ad. So yeah. Team owners, I saw this yesterday and it's kind of stupid. Former owners, executives from original USFL sue Fox Sports to halt the launch of the new spring league. By the way, you want to talk about fucked up. They're about to launch this in like a couple of months, which means that the pressure is on to like get this legal matter out of the way as soon as possible, which of course benefits the people who are suing. A group of former team owners and executives from the original USFL is suing Fox Sports to halt the launch of the new spring football league with the same name, alleging the new USFL is inappropriately using the old league's branding. The complaint filed in California on Monday alleges trademark infringement, false advertising, and false association by the new league. The group is seeking an injunction to prevent the new league from using any names or logos associated with the defunct league. Side note, if you didn't know, they already drafted the USFL teams. That happened like last Friday or some shit like that. Side note, the chances that they never talk to these old owners for the USFL, how high are those? Also, chances that Donald Trump is involved with this shit, pretty high, right? Has to be. And then side note. Hey, what's up? Sorry, I just saw your. Looks like they already left. Joe Ardo. Hi there. Hi, Joe. If you're still there, what's up, man? Thanks for checking out the show. Sorry I didn't see your message. First time chatter. By the way, I don't know what it is about study hall, but honestly, like, back-to-back weeks, study hall has had a person who's never been on the show, who's never checked out the show. Shout out Joder, Joder. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about Donald Trump. We were not talking about Donald Trump. We were talking about the USFL. Them motherfuckers knew that they were going to launch this league. They probably knew relatively the time that they were going to launch this league as well. And they waited. It has to be. That has to be it, right? They've known forever that the USFL was coming back. And they probably got approached for current team ownership. And it just didn't happen. Or to like invest in their old team or some shit like that. The original USFL played games in 1983 and 1985. It has been that long. And the group suing the league alleges Fox Sports and its partners did not properly obtain the league's trademark and other intellectual property. The suit calls the new league an unabashed counterfeit. I'm sorry to break it to you. They're going to do it way better than you guys did in the 80s. Without question. The former owners and executives are seeking an order preventing Fox from calling its league the USFL or using the name and the logos of any of the original 18 teams. Wow, 18 teams. Interesting. We're definitely clicking on this article. Don't worry. We're clicking on this article where it shows all of the league jersey designs, and that'll be the last thing that we do. All 8 teams in the new league are using the names of 1980s USFL teams. The league is composed of 8 teams split into 2 divisions. The North Division has the Michigan Panthers, New Jersey Generals, the Philadelphia Stars, the Pittsburgh Maulers, the Birmingham Stallions, and the Houston Gamblers. New Orleans Breakers and Tampa Bay Bandits are in the South Division. So, we're clicking on this article. This is our last one of this show for Study Hall. So if you're just joining Study Hall or you're watching it retroactively, this is the last article. So shout out to everybody who showed up today. Shout out to Joe Ardo for coming through for a little bit and hanging out. Sorry I didn't get to you, man. Actually, hold on. Let me see if this will send a notification to him. So nice. I'm not even that nice to my friends, so hopefully Joe will accept my friendship. Hopefully Joe will be my friend on the internet. But yeah, I'm not reading an article about clothing unless they're talking about like some cool design that went into it. They're just talking about the league getting split up. Let's see. So first of all, if you don't know, the Michigan Panthers are coached by Jeff Fisher, and so all the jokes have been in, 7-9, all them jokes, baby. Looks like the USFL season is going to be pretty quick, though. With only 8 teams, you can only do so much, right? Also, do they not have a cleat sponsor? Is that how this is going to work? Because they're in this photo right here, this Michigan Panthers player, which is the uniform you're seeing on your screen right now. This Michigan Panthers player, I can't tell if these are like maroon leggings. Is that the color they're calling it? Yeah, it's maroon, golden maroon. This maroon leggings, or they just toned everybody's legs to look that way because it looks a little too tight to be leggings. Anyway, I see those are Nike shoes. Those are like Nike free runs or whatever. But I get it. It's media day. Not everybody's got cleats on, or not everybody's gonna wear cleats. Anyway, looks like, okay, look, all these players are wearing Nike shoes, so maybe they have Nike as a sponsor. The Bandits are led by Todd Haley, spent 22 seasons as a coach in the NFL. All right, so they're basically like the red jersey is the home jersey and the white jersey is the road jersey. Everything else is the same. These are the Tampa Bay Bandits, who, if there was a color to not go with in Tampa Bay, it would be red. But the Stars look vibrant to their approach on the season. Their head coach is Bart Andrus, who spent time in the NFL. Not going to lie, don't recall Bart Andrus. Probably heard the name before, don't recall him. This is the Philadelphia Stars uniform. It's all right. Could be a lot worse. Looks like if you were from, first of all, it looks like caution strips. Here looks like that's like the little markings you see on the road to designate like the direct, like you're getting run over or something. Who knows, man? It's an approach. I think a lot of people are trying to find new ways to do the uniforms that have been done 1,000,000,001 times over. So I'm very open to new shit. Their logo does make them look like this. This looks very communist. which I like it, because if they have like a douche, like if they have like their team is filled with douchebags and they're just complete assholes, I would love that. I'm kidding. But their logo does look kind of cool. I'm sure the shirts are the shirt merch is gonna look pretty cool. The New Jersey Generals, this is all right. 5-star, obviously 5-star general, even though Brigadier General is the highest classification that a general can have, right? Am I right? Whatever. That's the New Jersey Generals out there. They look exactly like the Tampa Bay Bandits. We're seeing it. We're all seeing it, right? It's the same uniform, except they just changed the tone of the pants. The stripe is a little bit thicker, but these two teams are going to get confused. So hopefully one of them sucks and hopefully one of them is really good. But this looks like Georgia's uniform, kind of. This right here, this red one, looks like Georgia's uniform. This is a different tone, but it's super generic. Like, it looks like the kind of thing that people will be like, this looks like a Wish, or this looks like a Hallmark version of Georgia. The Houston Gamblers. There we go. This is a little unique here. This really weird cobalt type blue that's going through the colors. Hopefully the shirts, like the fan shirts and shit like that, are this color. But the black, I'm a big fan of black in other colors because you can you can make black look cool. But yeah, all these players are wearing Nike free runs. Or free run, like the training shoes or whatever. These are not Metcons, but they're another training shoe that Nike makes. Let's see. Those are Cutter gloves. Rough. If there's one thing there's one brand that makes you look like you're super generic, and it is Cutter. They don't even put their fucking names on their shit anymore. Anyway, hopefully they get a glove sponsor in here pretty soon. Or people are just going to give the important part I keep saying is, like, get a fucking sponsor for these things, because if not, then the players get to wear whatever they want, and then the companies, the athletic companies, are just going to get free advertisement, and it's probably going to be Nike that ends up getting the most free advertisement. Some of these colors are very unique, so it'll probably be really hard to find. See, like, okay, so like they're wearing black, they're wearing white. Okay, maybe these colors, if you want the team colors, it'd probably be difficult to come across them. The unique team color, because like black and white, you're going to find a billion and one of those. This is the Birmingham Stallions in Birmingham, Alabama. They got that kind of gold action going on. What's going on? This is Skip Holtz, the son of Lou Holtz. Yeah, so this will be interesting. Not going to say anything about Lou Holtz today. Yeah, this looks like Florida State a little bit. Kind of has like a little Florida State vibe going to it. But yeah, it's like a generic jersey. It's whatever. Are these actual players in the league? Because these guys look like kind of small. Or like these are not custom cut uniforms for these people. I don't know if these are players on the team. But these are like kind of small for football. These look like just in shape people. Not football player shaped people, if that makes sense. Yeah, so Pennsylvania starts off with two teams. That's interesting. This is Kirby Wilson, who never heard of, but he coached in. See, this is unique. I like this. This is something. This is popping. This is something to pay attention to. This is something that will get people's attention. It looks weird. It has nothing to do with the city of Pittsburgh, and most importantly, it will be the Pittsburgh Maulers will be the only team in the city of Pittsburgh that do not have gold and black as their team colors. And then on top of that, they're going to almost do like the polar opposite of two harsh colors like gold and black. They're going like this purple and orange type shit. Like, I like that. Hopefully they get some cool looking cleats, and hopefully they get to wear these home jerseys a lot. They're probably doing half and half, right? For the opening season. So hopefully they get them the purple gloves that go with this. That'll make it look cool. So New Orleans Breakers, this is cool. This looks like the Tulane Wave. I'm sure that's kind of what they were giving a nod to. This looks exactly like the Tulane Wave. Tulane, very close to New Orleans, and a lot of people in Louisiana's hearts as a school. It is the rich kid school. A lot of people have mixed emotions about the school. I'll say it that way. But yeah, this is basically a carbon copy of the Tulane Wave uniform if it was not green. Let's see. Larry Fedora is the head coach of this team. Yeah, he's like the last dude hired. Anyway, and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, study hall is over. Get the fuck out. I feel like we're better people. Most importantly, we're better sports fans than we were when we first started. We talked about a couple of things. What's up? Xavier Ballin, how's it going, man? Look, man, I don't know what to tell you. Man. I don't know how to explain this. Study hall is like super popular. Study hall, popping off, man. Study hall has more new people hop into the chat than any version of the Broke Boy Sports Podcast has. I don't know what the deal is, man. But yeah, Study Hall episode number 2, rousing success. It doubled the number of first-time chatters and viewers for the show ever. So yeah, we're killing it, guys. Great job, everyone. Good hustle on everybody's part. And on this note, I guess I should play the outro music so I can leave, or I should just shut off the stream because I think I closed Spreaker. Hold on, let me play it. Let's play the outro music, everybody. Get out. See you guys on Friday. Don't know what time, probably around 7. I'm going to try and do it as early as possible so that I actually have time to go to my girlfriend's house and watch our shows that we're supposed to watch together. 7 o'clock. 6 o'clock. 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock would be nice. All right, get out. Stay smart. Stay thirsty for knowledge. And like I said before, wash your hands, wash your ass, please. If you have the ability to wash your whole body, please do it every single day. Not just when you feel like you smell funky. Do it every single day. And if you feel like real dry after you get out of the shower, you need different soap. That's what it is. Your soap should make you feel good after you get out of the shower. All right. I don't know why we went on that diatribe, but you can do better. I believe in you. All right, we out.